What is God? Is God an old bearded man in the sky? Did God create the universe? Did God created man and all the living creatures? Does God execute all our movements? Are we just passive spectators in our own bodies? We are not very sure whether a Big Bang created the universe. However, we do know that a baby is formed by the fusion of an egg with a sperm. We are sure that a baby is not created by God. Science has proved that it is our brain that controls what we do and not an imaginary entity called God. Does this mean that God is imaginary and does not actually exist? How to explain the existence of these Hindu gods in scientific terms? The total absence of scientific evidence for the existence of God conclusively proves that God is imaginary. Do these facts prove that God doesn't actually exist and is a delusion that most human beings have? If God is imaginary, how can it be universal and eternal? Do I control my body? Does God controls my body? Does my brain controls my body? Do believers have a special sense organ to see God which non-believers don't have? Is God imaginary and incomprehensible? Then why do we believe that it exists in the real world? If it is incomprehensible, how is it possible to write infinite verses of scriptures? The 320 pairs of muscle in our body can isometrically unify into a single unified muscle. Normally signals from the brain go to the unified muscle, which modifies the signal and then sends it to the isotonic component of the muscular system to enable or abolish action. It is this modifier that we call God. However, under ideal or chaotic conditions, the unified muscle is bypassed and a signal from the brain directly goes to isotonic component of muscular system. Thus, in the modern concept of the body, we suppose that the brain controls what we do. However, are the properties of God and those of the unified muscle the same? Are all verses of scriptures really based on the properties of the unified muscle, which can just isometrically contract and relax?